good evening and welcome to this February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day to all edition of the Island Stats Football Show. I want to thank our guests, but first of all, I'm joined by co-host Garrett Punchy Dill. And again, we want to thank our guests because I know it's a special day and we've pulled you away from things that you should be doing to have this chat. Earl Seymour and Kamani Benz. I know, Punchy, you're itching to start a conversation, so on to you, Punchy.
Hey, welcome, Jonathan. Welcome. Kimmy, good to see you. And again, Seymour, Mr. Seymour, it's great to see you also. I'm just going to start off with, Kimmy, I'm going to ask you a question about your travels. I know you've relocated to overseas now, and they told me you're coaching. I didn't know you were actually coaching over there. Can you give me the history of what happened? How did you get into coaching over there in Maryland?
Yeah. So, I mean, good evening. Thank you guys again so much. I appreciate for you guys having me. So I actually earned a football scholarship at a Division I college called University of Maryland Eastern Shore, and a quiet, tiny little area. It's a historically Black college, and I was able to play there for 4 years. And that's where I met my wife. She was going to Salisbury University, and we ended up meeting. And as you know, as they say, the rest is history. We came back and lived there for a few years, and that's when I was playing again with Village. And so in 2004, 2005, we moved back to the States. And so I was actually teaching at a high school called Mardella Middle and High School. And when I got there, their football program was really, I don't want to say in shambles, but they weren't doing well. And so I got there, and the lady that was coaching, she was originally a basketball coach, and she was doing the best that she could. And I was just like, hey, if you need, I'll do whatever you need and I'll help you out to coach. And so at that moment, obviously they had some criteria. I had to get established at the school first. They had to make sure that I was a full-time teacher. And so that first year, I was not on the coaching team. But the second year, once I was established an accredited teacher in Maryland, they took me on as an assistant coach. There was a great guy by the name of Paul Kaplinger. He was the head coach at the time. And as we started the program, he saw that I had a wealth of knowledge, man, and we got to know each other. And he was like, "Yo, Kimmy, this is kind of weird. Like, you should be in the head coach position." And so it's so funny, Punchy. He decides to step back. He said, "Look, man, I'm going to resign, and I feel like you apply, and if they take you on, I want to be your assistant." And sure enough, after 2 years being his assistant and getting to understand the ins and outs of high school football, I was able to take the reins as the head coach at Mardella Middle and High School for 5 years, man. And it was a wonderful experience because I went from a country that loves football, as everybody knows in Bermuda, to a country and a place where football wasn't number one. And we had to instill a new passion for ball there. And we were able to honestly, and I give a lot of credit to Coach Kaplinger and the boys that we were able to coach, their commitment to being the best, it was evident in everything that they did. And the good news was I had a core of players that, you know how we used to play when I was coming through. You guys know we had bantams and juniors and minors and mini minors. They had the Pee Wee League. These boys came together. So when they got to me in high school, I had a core guys that were starting as my freshmen. And when we got when they became seniors, we at least challenged for the regional finals twice. Both times we lost to the eventual state champions. So that's how I got into coaching out here in the States, man.
Good. I I do know that if you're reaching those type of, reaching that level with your team, I just know how good they got to be. Because especially on the East Coast. I mean, I know the explosion of soccer in the United States, or football. But I'm glad for you. I'm glad for you. Thanks for that. Mr. Seymour, I'm glad to have you back on the show.
Yes,
Well, glad to have you on the show. I know your coaching experience. Yeah, right. I'm happy that you're taking on the reins of Somerset. I'm very happy. I'm seeing some improvement with the organization as Earl and I talk about in this country here. Let me ask you a question. You get into coaching, because I know your father coached also, and I played under him. And your philosophy of coaching is what there at Somerset?
My
philosophy of coaching at Somerset, yes. Were you influenced by your father to get into coaching?
Oh, I mean, I can't really get away from football, to be honest. I couldn't escape it. I had my father, I had Dennis Braun, that was that's my uncle. So it was kind of inevitable I was gonna fall into this field at some point, it seems, you know. But yeah, of course, my father's pretty much taught me and grew in me my entire coaching career, and so yeah. To answer your question, my father has been a big influence on me. My philosophy, control football, attacking football, hardworking players I'm looking for to be a part of my establishment and my team, my organization, and a positive mindset, players that think professionally, and so that we could get the best out of the core of the team.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, let me ask you a question, because it's really important. You have a crop of young people in your team, and this for the second time this pandemic has stopped football. What is the message you're getting from them, and how anxious are they to get back out and play and represent Somerset?
Well, we've been active over this break period, so and I'm been very impressed with the participation, even though there's really no incentive. Football, to playing the game is the incentive of training for a amateur sport, So I I'm proud to say that we're like really continuously going, and we've been training in groups. When the numbers were done, then we broke it down to groups of 9. And so I'm really, really, really proud of them for staying active and staying committed to the cause, and obviously in saying that, that shows that they're willing and ready to go at any time, so they're very anxious, man. They're very anxious. Yeah. Young group, and all they want to do is play football, to be honest.
Right. Well, the follow-up question to that is, how much time would you need if the numbers are increased, say on Tuesday with the press conference? How much time do you think you would need to have your team ready to actually start playing?
I mean, 2 to 3 weeks. That's 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay, all right. And Kimmy, what is it like in the environment that you're in now, that there's so much being shut down in the U.S. that obviously kids must be frustrated that they can't get out and run around and do something that they enjoy?
So, that is so crazy that you say that, Earl. They're playing out here, but let me tell you the parameters that they're playing under. So right now, in the area, so I'm not coaching anymore, but I was in charge of athletics when I was at the high school, and now I'm an assistant principal at an elementary school. But right now, football was shut down only for a short time, to be honest with you, and even with the over 30s club that I was playing with, they had a lot of stipulations. So, for example, and I'll just show you how the unorganized get-togethers, like my over 30s, and how the organized goes. So we had an over 30s club that will play at a beautiful facility called Crown Sports Center. So to be able to go play, everyone had to sign off on this waiver. And then once you signed off on the waiver, there was a guy there that would take your temperature, and you would have to fill out this form every time before we went to go and play. And at halftime, during the game, and it sounds crazy, you couldn't go and celebrate, you couldn't give high fives. When you went at halftime, you had to be spaced out a certain amount of spaces, and that was the for us, over 30s pickup. The organized football right now, they are getting ready for the high schools coming up, actually February 20 something. But the organized travel teams that are indoor, because it's kind of cold in Maryland right now. When I left 6 inches of snow. The indoor kids from the Pee-wee all the way up to the under 18s, no joke, they play with a mask on, guys. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm sitting here. I know how difficult it is for me to breathe. When I'm got my mask on, I sat in the airport in Atlanta for 2 hours waiting. I'm like, I'm sick and tired of wearing this. These kids are running up and down playing in a mask. They have to have their own water bottles. So there's no team jug. Everybody has a water bottle that they have to have. There's no high fives. There's no celebrating of goals. So they didn't have a long time period where they weren't playing. They got back to it, and it's tons of regulations to go into the building. You got to get your temperature checked. You got to sign off on these forms, and there is only the parent, if they're under a certain age, that can be in there. No fans. So they haven't had a long period, but it's a lot of protocol that they have to follow.
Very interesting, because I've seen a couple of college matches where people are wearing masks to play. What have you heard from the health department, well, from the association, that the health department's given them requirements of coming back to play thus far? Have you heard anything?
Yes, I've heard that all players will have to get COVID test to be eligible to play in the league when it is reinstated. I'm all for that. I have no problem with that, and make sure that we're staying safe. It's a new time, so we have to roll up the punches, I'm heard a couple different dates, but I don't really pay too much attention to it unless I got an email from BFA to say, okay, this is the date we're starting. To be honest, we supposed to start today from Hersey, and then we supposed to start next week from Hersey. So I don't even pay much attention to what people saying on the side. I'm waiting for the email, and then we could go from there.
Yeah. But
yes, Kimmy, I guess you've heard what's happening in our country in terms of the amount of young footballers that are going overseas now. We've got plenty of them. Absolutely. Just the renaissance of football is it's being reinvigorated. There's a lot of kids that are leaving at 10 or 12 years old to go to England, and also the United States. The question I want to ask you is that, what is it you're seeing in Maryland, in Maryland, in terms of what soccer means to the United States? Is there really the competition in the junior level compared to from 12 years to 18-year-old? What is it like there in the United States, in Maryland?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So first, before I answer that, I do want to give a big shout out, man, to all the youths and all of the athletes here in Bermuda, because I remember, when I was coming up, I wanted to play professionally, and opportunities were there, but you really, everything really had to fall in place for it to happen. These youngsters today, Punch and Earl and Seymour, I'm sure you guys can attest to it. The opportunity that is there, it is phenomenal, man. And so I just want to at least give a shout out to all of the young aspiring footballers here on the island. if that's what you want to do, like you have to be fully committed to it, but the opportunities will be there. As far as where I'm at in the States, the growth of football is huge. So I went to play 1993, right, on the Eastern Shore. When I got out there, there was one facility called Nets. It was an indoor football facility. There was my college, University of Maryland, UMES, which was Division One, and 30 minutes away was Salisbury University, which was a Division Three. That was the only football that you heard about. The junior and the pee-wee levels was unheard of. You only played football when you got in high school. There were 3 high schools in Bennett, Y High, Parkside, and one that was about a half an hour. So 4 high schoolers. They really didn't play in middle school. So you got to high school, and guys, I'm not joking. I had guys on my high school team that couldn't juggle the ball 20 times. That's what I had to work with. This was back in 2004. So when I was playing in 93, that was it. But now, 2021, it is huge. The feeder programs. You have Crown Sports Center that has a lot of travel teams. You have Fruitland Falcons, which is a feeder program. They start from the pee-wee level. They go all the way up to the under 18s. There's a wonderful program called the Delmarva Blast, started by a friend of mine named Rusty Brown. He actually asked me to help be a part of it, but I was unable to commit. They are a wonderful travel team. They travel to California. They're trying to get their roots as a part of the DC United feeder. If you go to Crown on a weekend, the field is constantly. I mean, they have under 8 fields. They have 11v11 fields, international size fields. It's nonstop. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, football all weekend. And so now, from when I started in 93 to 2021, you would not believe the change. It's really where I'm at. It really is. And of course they call it soccer, but it's a football town now, my friend. It truly is.
Good. I do believe it. And Mr. Seymour, my question to you.
Punchy, let's just take a commercial break, and when we come back, you can ask Seymour the next question, okay? We'll be right back.
The everyday use of spices goes back well over 6,000 years, evidenced by archaeological finds in Europe, including remains of spiced food. Since 1976, the Frontier Natural Foods Co-op has been bringing a wide range of exciting flavors to the table. The results are good news for the environment and more robust, fragrant essential oils in these natural seasonings. We're featuring Frontier Natural Products, organic ground cloves, rub sage leaf, and poultry seasoning. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
All right, welcome back. Yeah, Punch.
Yeah. Mrs. Seymour, I want to ask you, what are your aspirations for Sumter?
Yes, sir.
What direction is Sumter Cricket Club going in? What are they? Because the reason I'm asking is that, in the last 5 or 10 years, which they used to call it Silver City, of course. I'm sure you probably asked this question probably asked you. What has happened there for a long period? Can you explain to me in the last 10 years why the direction of Sumter Cricket Club is in, what direction they're in now, and what do you think happened in terms of when I would call it falling from grace?
That's a very good question. So I'll start with falling from grace. And I might take a scolding for saying this, but when I was coming up, it was 2 teams in Somerset, which was Somerset Trojans and Somerset Eagles. And as I got into my later teens and getting into my 20s, Island Rangers went from being a commercial team to a first division team. So what that did was kind of dilute a bit. So now instead of having 2 teams and we could kind of manage our top players, then our top players started to go to Island Rangers and split between Eagles and split between Trojans. So obviously, it kind of dilutes the potency of quality in either of Eagles and Somerset. Now, obviously, we all know that Somerset was the supreme in the West, and then kind of Eagles got the spillover. But now is a little different. So my philosophy and my thoughts is to get all the top players to play for one team in order to compete. See, for me, us in Somerset, we're too busy, or not everyone, but I'm gonna generalize it. We're too busy trying to be the best in Somerset rather than be the best in the island. You see what I'm saying? So if I got the top players from Eagles, if I got the top players from Island Rangers, and I have my top players in Somerset, Village won't beat me. Dandy Town won't beat me. Robin Hood won't beat me because I will have such a potent team. See, that's why Somerset Youth program is so strong, is because it's only one program. So now when you go and compete against the rest, then you have the best of the best in, per se, Somerset Reds or a Somerset Youth team, because it's no Island Rangers youth program. There's no Somerset Eagles youth program. So my philosophy is or my idea to start to channel the pride of the community. And that's we can represent Eagles and we can represent Island Rangers through one team rather than us go and split up and then we're all struggling, you know? So that's my take on how we fell from grace. And me, I'm a person of, I like to include everyone. So for instance, Larry Smith is helping me this year, and every week he's like, D, who is this player? And D, who is this player? Because I believe in inclusion of everyone, and that gives you a bigger pool to choose from for the quality in order to attain the quality. So that's my thing, to include, to go pick people. Okay, yo, you ain't playing no more. Why you ain't playing no more? Come on, man, we can use you. And if they come out and not of a higher standard, then that's fine. But who knows? I might get a jam. I might get a jam that's not been playing for X amount of years because I'm inviting them in the session. So that's where the start of resurgence has come from. Just recruitment, you know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. When Benzie, while you were playing, what do you miss about playing in Bermuda?
Man. I miss the competitiveness as far as being able to go up against people that I grew up with, that I know, you know. Bermuda is such a small, tight-knit country that once you get into a fraternity like football, pretty much everybody knows anybody. You know, it's so funny when you say Danny Seymour and Punch says he played under him. Like, I remember screaming Danny Seymour. Like, I remember his coaching style and all that there. And so I miss the competitiveness of going up against other friends that I knew loved football, that could play football, that, you know, we would play in the junior game, the 1 o'clock game, and then all the guys would sit off and watch, you know, the first division game, and we all knew each other, like, and so couldn't wait. It's kind of like when you go to play your brother, you're going to make sure that you beat your boy so that he knows that I'm the better guy. To me, that's how Bermuda football was. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially somebody like me who grew up in St. George's, but my old man's roots was at Village, and me playing Village, and then having guys say, yeah, Benz, man, you were supposed to play with us, and we could have did big things like you did at Village, knowing that when I go play you, that I'm going to beat you and hurl that against you. So that's really what I miss, man. I still do play out in the States. Like I said, I have over 30s club that we play with. We play every Thursday and Sunday. But that's the biggest thing that I miss from playing in Bermuda, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Punch.
Hey, the other question I'm going to ask about Kimmy, and I'm going to ask also Mr. Seymour. The coaching experience. What's happening in the country now, Kimmy? Just to give you a little facts. As you know, the association now deems it necessary that you must have a coaching license to coach in a team here, which is, I think, is a great step. Of course, when you did mention the fact about our country being small compared to the United States, because that means a lesser pool to pick from.
Exactly.
Mr. Seymour, I'm going to ask you the question in terms of the country itself. Do you think we're heading in the right direction in terms of, I say, the club organization? I do know that the results that we had in the World Cup, and I think it's CONCACAF, we did achieve quite a bit. Do you think that the country is heading in the right direction?
The question I have to ask you back is, what direction are we headed in?
Right.
I'm not sure.
Well, the question let me complete the question. For such a small country, right? Go ahead.
I guess if you're looking at the coaching badges, yes, we are heading in the right direction. I would not like a teacher that's not qualified to coach my child. So I totally understand that everyone has to be qualified and ready to go. But the next step, I think, is the most important question, or the most important thing. Where do we head after we get everybody qualified? It's like Somerset won the league a few years ago, and we got invited to go and play in the CFU competition. So we signed up. We took a nice little team out there, and we got bashed 5-1, and maybe 5-0 and 4-1. So, but when we get to Haiti, one of the poorest countries in the island, the football facilities are better than ours. So as a rich, so-called rich country, we put very little resources into our infrastructure, and I think that's the thing that's going to take us to another level. We constantly share football grounds with cricket. We need to get to a place where cricket has their own places to play, football has their own places to play, so that I'm not on for 6 months and then off for 6 months. So when you ask me, are we going in the right direction? My question is our facilities going to get better? I understand, and I could be wrong, that the more money that is invested into our football infrastructure in Bermuda, or football in general in Bermuda, is the more that we get. So let's put some money into it, and then you could get it back from FIFA after you get your rent. To say, okay, this is what I spent on football last year. I'm gonna need this grant to spend it for next year, or need this budget for next year. So that's where we should be going, in my opinion, to make it a lot more feasible to get the best out of our children and our young football athletes.
Thank you.
So I'm happy with it being okay. Let's sort out the coaches, but now let's sort out the facilities. That's where my head's at, Right. And when it goes in that direction, I'll be all thumbs up.
Very good answer. Very good. And Kimmy, can you explain why is it such, like now soccer, as you're saying, why has this become so? Because I think I have an answer, but why do you think so many, the country United States, particularly soccer, is being like it's taking on a new level now? What has happened? The resurgence of football, soccer in general in the United States. I mean,
So
what do you think has happened? What has happened? What do you think so many schools and what has made it so popular now with all the sports that they play in the United States?
yeah, so I think Seymour made a very valid point. If you want to be successful at something, you have to put finances and effort into it. And I remember back in the day when the US was in the World Cup, you're like, oh yeah, okay, they're gonna get spanked, this, that, and the other. Because they didn't look at football as a sport that they wanted to be successful at. It was NFL, it was basketball, and those sports. But and I've seen it with my own two eyes, from my personal experience to what I've seen, the explosion of football in the area that I'm staying, as well as here. When you put finances and you lay out a plan to be successful, you have to be fully committed to it. And like he said, whether or not you go to get a loan, whether or not some billionaire or millionaire says, hey, I want to invest in this country, this facility, this club, and see the success. Until we do that, then we're going to keep stumbling over those hurdles. When you look at Bermuda, in my opinion, we haven't completely financially committed to raising football to the standard that we want to. I mean, when I think when I was playing, honestly, man, I was a teacher at West Pembroke, yeah. And if I had a game on a Tuesday night, cup game or whatever, and I got home 11 o'clock because we had the 9 o'clock nightcap, and we played up Somerset, and I'm riding home, and then I got to go work the next day, right? Sore, like lifting my leg over my bike, because the only money that I was getting was maybe if one of the village fans were like, yo, Benz, thanks for the shout out tonight. And he gave me $50 or whatever it was. So we did it for the love and the passion. But can you imagine if we had a certain amount of money pumped into each club, pumped into our program, like Seymour said, have football-ready facilities only. I'm telling you, you want to know why the MLS has improved so much? Not saying that they're a super program, but every club now has a football-ready stadium. Their facilities, everything has been filtered towards that. And yes, we can say America is a superpower in the world, and they have that money. But listen, I read an article just the other day. Bermuda used to be number 3 as far as finances, as far as living. We're the most difficult country as far as money place to live in. I mean, we have high wages, but think about it, a gallon of milk's like $9 here in Bermuda. I go pay for a gallon of milk in the States, and it's what, $3.95, $4. So we have, I don't know where we get the money from, but until we pump the money that we need and have the facilities, top-notch facilities, not like you said, we share cricket and rugby and football for one field. So then guys go in the field is all bumpy. Like, so I totally agree with Seymour. Great point, man.
Great point, right?
We're going to take another commercial break, and when we come back, we'll have more with Kimmy Benz and
Amy's Kitchen is an independent organic food producer, a family business who've been focusing on wholesome and flavorful foods for over 30 years. From their first pot pie right up to 1 million meals a day, and firmly believe in the importance of TLC throughout the entire journey to the final outcome. This month we're featuring Amy's Organic Soups, black bean, vegetable, minestrone, quinoa, kale, red lentil, low-fat split pea, and vegetable barley and more. All of them dairy, gluten, and lactose free. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Dio, during one of your tenures as coach, you also at times suited up. How difficult is it at times to play and coach at the same time for you personally?
It's definitely being a player coach is one of the most difficult things you could do, because as a coach, I don't have to prove that I can play. You know, but if I lace up my boots, if I'm been shouting at this guy for 10 games, not to do this, not to do this, not to do this, and then I lace up my boots and make the same mistake, then it's like, okay, don't tell me nothing. You can't really say much. So
Right.
so I mean, I totally hold any player coach in high regards, because you have to fulfill the obligation. You have to work on your shoulders, and keep the standard high. So it is a very, very difficult responsibility. I would prefer not to play and coach, but you know, circumstances, so things might have to happen at times, you know. And I try to stay as active as possible. Last year, to be honest, Dennis was coaching Braun, and I mean, you know, I tried to stay active. I weren't a part of the head staff or coaching team last year. I was spiritually just dealing with the children, but you know, I was trying to help Dennis with the transition of coming back into the program, and I started to train with him. And you know, if you guys know my father, his got a big mouth, so apples don't fall too far from the tree. So I'm giving instruction. I'm giving instruction in the training session, and it becomes, look, we need somebody like you on the field. And I'm like, look, man, I'm not got it like that. I'm not got it like that. I'm old. Like, you know, tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm not gonna be able to train for the next week and a half if I play this game. But he taught me into it a few times. But I would prefer not.
There was enough times I saw you on the sideline, boots on and ready to go. So yeah, that's why I asked.
But even as a coach, I have to suit up in order to feel a part of the. I couldn't dress in a suit and be on the side. I need to put on my boots. I need to put on my tracksuit. I need to feel a part of what's going on. You know, that's just me. You know.
Punch.
So don't be fooled by the boots. I'm on the team sheet.
Hey, yeah.
I'll have to look at the team sheet to see if your name's actually down there. So, and not as a coach signed.
I also like to play with them. I also like to play with them in the warm up to kind of get them going, you know, because I'm a hype man. You know, I'm a hype man.
Oh. Okay, yeah, very good. Kimmy, I'm gonna go a bit down memory lane a bit for you. Any special moments that you can remember when you're playing for North Village? Just give me a special, maybe one or two special moments.
Of course, when he beat St. George's.
No, we did that on a regular.
No.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, Earl, good point, man. Whenever we played St. George's, like we never just walked over. But to answer your question, Punchy, it's not even a question. It'll always be the standout point in my life. And it has to do with my old man. So when obviously everybody knows I was living in St. George's when I first started playing for Village with the Bantams. And I remember my day. So I lived right up there on Gunpowder Cavern, up by the golf course, if you're going towards the hotel. And my daddy said to me, I was just getting into Village. I'll never forget my first game. I came off the bench against Hamilton Parish down the park. And he was like, Kimmy, if you want to be great, not a good player, if you want to be a great player, there is no off season. You will have to sacrifice when all the guys around your neighborhood, and most of the guys in my neighborhood didn't play. They would, ride bikes and stuff. And he said, when they come and say, Benz, let's go ride bikes, let's go hang down the square, let's go fishing, you got to be practicing. Go up and down through the trees and practice. And he said, I'm telling you, if you commit yourself to train even when it's the off season and focus on ball, they're going to pay to come and watch you, and you're going to do something that people will remember. And I'll never forget the first year that they made me captain. It was under Kenny. I said, look, man, I want to be able to lift a trophy. passed me the FA Cup trophy, man. And that band was on my arm. I can vividly remember in my vision, man. The fans are cheering. We had won the FA Cup for years. And I can vividly remember my old man saying, if you sacrifice, and these guys are going to do everything else, you will do something that is special, and people will pay to come see you, man. And I raised that trophy, and that comes to mind every time. Anytime somebody asks me, Kimmy, give me something that stands out for you when you was playing, it's that right there, man. And the hard work always pay off.
Good point. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much. I thought I would ask you that. But of course, let me just tell you, of course, as a Bears, you're supposed to come to New Orleans anyway, no matter where you play.
Yeah. It was no question.
It was no question. It's no question. Thumbs up to that and your pops. Now, Mr. Seymour, the question I want to ask you in terms of relation, the national team has started training again. Young players that you have, I don't know, the Suns that have any young, good, talent? Could you name some of the talents that's there now? Because I have seen them, but some of the players that I've seen playing for Suns before the lockdown, is anyone particular that you know that you will recommend for the national team, or if it's there? How many? Because I've seen, like I said, repeat my question is that I've seen quite a bit of talent there now that you have, young players, and I'm glad you are going back to what Suns was about, which was North Village was also doing the same thing. But my question again to you is, who are the young players that are that you have such a delight in coaching now, that you see a future?
I mean, I have an extremely young team. I mean, Jaden Valerie Smith, he got a call up, her recently. So his been nursing an injury, but he had a call up, and he's one of outstanding young players for the last 2 to 3 years. It's maybe 22 now. So if he's working hard and if he gets back fit and inspired, because players have to be inspired to go and play for the national program. So he's one of our good young prospects. We have Daquan Crockle. He also got a call up. He's a young goalkeeper, which I mean, he's extremely outstanding in my opinion. He's not even 20 yet. I think he's maybe 6'2", 6'1". So he's got some size on him. He's very agile, and I think he's a good prospect to be maybe right now number 2, obviously, or to challenge Dale for his number 1 spot. So I feel that he's in a good place that he could go to the national program and really make a statement. Tavon, a new signing, he had came up last year. He had also got a call up to the national program. Obviously, I would love many more of our players to be involved in the national program, obviously, because the better the player you play around or train with, then the higher your level, as I was speaking about earlier. So we have a young player, Micah Hanska. He's 19 now, so I feel that he's ready to go in and be a part of at least under 21 team. Jose Butterfield, also he's one of my trusty. I think this season is played every game, all game, So he's one of my young players that I feel like could make a good impact also. And we have Kiari, Sharif Haywood. He's also a young player that I feel like he's inspired and would love to be a part of the national program, So it's just about, man, I could go on because I have like the average of my team is like 21 years old, if you ask me. If I'm thinking correctly. The average age of my team is 21 years old. So I think they're done well, they're competing well. So a lot of our young players could go and challenge at least for the under 20 to be a part of it,
Yeah. I'm glad you asked that question, Punchy, because I was gonna actually ask Dale this question. Keith Jennings, what does he do for your program? What does he do for your team? Because as a senior player coming into a team such as Somerset, he's very versatile and willing to help out in any regard. But what does he mean for a coach like you? What does he mean for you in your team?
All right, so Keith is one of those that Keith's special in the sense of he's a top quality player, or he was a top quality player in his prime, and he still has a lot to offer on the field. But his real worth is in his knowledge and in the respect that he gets from his peers and the youngsters, because they know that he's at his twilight years, he is still a player that we could count on. So for information coming from Keith is a little different from information coming from a player that hasn't achieved what he has achieved, you know. So I mean, his knowledge is unbelievable. So he is a big part of what's happening right now, you know. And no, he's not always available, but you know, we take him as he comes, you know, because of his quality. And it's no disrespect to any other player, but we know that if I could count on you to give me, for instance, one game he's played in goal and he got a shutout against Village this season. So that, you know,
Punchy will remember that very well.
I'm seeing him in a couple weeks.
I remember that.
Punchy, I had to give him a call. Hey, I ain't seen you in a couple weeks, man. Look, man, I need you this week. And you know, and he's been a great servant, man. He's been a great servant for me in that regard. Last year, he came in and we in a bad place. Him, Dion Stovall, a couple other players. We was getting closer to the second half of the season last year, and just maybe on 1 or 2 points. And so when we brought the experienced players in, as even though they might not have the legs like the youngsters, but they have the brain that they know what to do at the right time, you know. So they helped us to revive ourselves and pull us out of the relegation battle. So I mean, it's priceless to have somebody like that still a part of our team, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
We're gonna take another commercial break. When we come back, Punchy, you can ask your next question.
This month, we're featuring a range of infant and baby care products from Hello Bello, a company started up by a husband and wife team who were inspired to meet the challenges arising from the often surprising, not to mention messy experiences that came with the territory known as parenting. The couple behind Hello Bello know that being a parent is uniquely demanding, and their mission is to bring you premium products at gentle prices. Try Hello Bello Alpha diapers in a range of sizes, Alpha Blossom baby lotion, baby powder, and much more. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Welcome back. Punch?
Yeah. Kimmy, a question for you. I know we're a small country, as we're talking about, and such a big pool, and soccer is such a worldwide game, most popular game in the world. Kimmy, if you had to offer some advice, and because we are getting a lot of young people watching this show, tuning into the show, if you had to offer a lot of these young players advice now, considering where you are now, what is that you would say to young ones about even the 13 or 14 years old? What kind of advice would you give to them? Even if they don't make it, even if it doesn't, then they go 16 to do something else. What advice would you give to these aspiring young footballers?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And one of the philosophies that I had when I was coaching was, not only am I teaching you about the game of football, but I'm teaching you about life. And so the drive, the determination, the philosophy that you have personally, it goes to football, but it filters over also to life. Because at the end of the day, football really, at the end of the day, even though guys know I love football and I say ball is life, it's really just a game, Punch. And it's a game that prepares you for life if you go with the right philosophy about it. And what I mean by that is, if you want to be successful in ball, you're committed, you work hard, you practice, you plan, you listen to people that have been successful, you watch people that have been successful so that you can reach those same goals. And then you take opportunities when they're brought to you. So if you take that same philosophy and then apply it to life, you have to pay attention. You've got to work hard. You've got to plan your future. You've got to take advice and listen to people that have been successful, parents, people that you respect, teachers. Be committed to what you want. Set those goals. Guys, set a goal to be a professional football player. Set a goal to be, if you want to be a teacher. So both philosophies will be used in life. I mean, the philosophy for football is the same philosophy that you use for life. So when I'm teaching them how to play football, I'm also teaching them how to be a man, a woman, a productive citizen in society. So the advice that I will give to them is whatever whatever goal you want to reach in football, you have to have that plan and list all of those criteria that I mentioned. It's really the same thing for life, because guess what? Football is going to come to an end one day. Are you going to be able to take the same philosophies that you were successful in football, but now filter it over to life? So when you look at guys that have retired, just for example, look at Shaquille O'Neal in basketball, one of the greatest basketball players. But he went and got his master's degree. He did this, that, and the other in communications. And now he's retired from basketball, but he's one of the top people that analyze basketball. He owns businesses because he took the same philosophy that got him to be a good basketball player, to be a great individual. So that would be my advice, that football is just a game, but the philosophy that you have in that, you have to use that if you want to be successful in life.
Thank you very much, Mr. Benz. And Mr. Seymour, I'm going to ask you, it's not a personal question. What is your relationship with your president? Is he got the same vision that you have for Somerset? Blanche, if you don't, what is his plan for Somerset's future? Blanche, I think his name is
yeah,
well, I think it's Blanche. Yeah.
LaShawn Blanche.
Yes. What is it? What is the future there?
I mean,
for,
I can't really speak for what his vision is as far as football. For the club.
Right.
I know that his aspiring coach himself, so he's very much into football development. He's also a part of the national academy under 15s, I believe. So
yes.
He's definitely heavy into football development, island wide, you know. But I mean, to be honest, a lot needs to be restructured when it comes to football locally, not just Somerset, over the entire island. We need more hours. I don't want to go too much off of topic, but we did travel. Me and Blanchard did travel to Belgium and UK last summer, not 2020, 2019. And we did meet a lot of important people. And what we learned is that the more hours you put into the craft, then the more productivity you will get out of it, you know? So right now, you can't really do too much with it, but we started to increase the hours that the children get with football in Somerset. A lot of times, it's training twice a week, but we have to increase that as you get farther into the age group. So I know that under 13s right now are training 3 times out of the week, and some of the players are also training with the national program. So the more hours they get, the better. So I feel like that's the key right now to success in the artists dealing with the youth rather than so much of the senior players, you know, and getting them on a right mindset, and a right trajectory in order to be successful. You know, we have to prepare them because at one point I went Holland and I asked, I think it was a coach at PSV Eindhoven or Eindhoven, however you pronounce it, how much time does the player spend training per day? And the guy told me 6 hours. I couldn't understand how he got 6 hours of training out of one day, but I figured that even if you cut that in half, if the players are getting 3 hours in one day and they're training 4 days out of the week, then that's 12 hours. But in Bermuda, if I'm got my kids training for 2 sessions a week, an hour and a half, then that's only 3 hours for the whole week. When that's getting 3 hours for the day. So if you start to compile them hours, and then I send my under 13s to play these under 13s abroad, how do I expect my under 13s to compete with players that's been playing for or training with that amount of volume of hours in a day? It's impossible. So for me, and I know for him also, is that we have to try to give our kids more with the ball and playing and training. So that's the direction that I want to head in Somerset. I can't really speak too much for the hierarchy.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen,
No problem.
just think of it like that. That time has come and gone. I do want to thank you very much for your time. You guys have been great guests, and we look forward to having you back sometime soon whenever you're available to give us more updates. And obviously, as we get back into the season, if we get back into a season, it's right back to the hard work that you guys have to do in order to push ourselves up that table. We still have some games in the first half to finish, and then got a whole second half of a season to finish. So, for you, all the best for the remainder of the season.
Thank you.
And your young team as well. And Kimmy, good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while, but appreciate your time. All the best. Well, folks, thanks for joining us on this Island Stats Football Show. Have a good night.